Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Calling the Game, an opportunity for a mouthless sports writer to get together with a faceful scientist and talk about all things sporting good. I'm Chris Lynch,
I'm Thomas Villalone Jr.
and we have had quite an interesting go of it as of late for all the various sports things, with the Major League Baseball playoffs getting underway, and some teams looking like great juggernauts, and some teams looking like they don't belong in the Cape Cod Baseball League. I love the Cape League, but it is college players down there. They're not as good as the pros.
Apparently, they're better right now than some teams.
Yeah, the Whitecaps could have beaten up the Red Sox the way they're going right now.
2 words. Jose Altuve.
He should be the AL MVP this year, but we'll talk about him a bit later on. The NHL has gotten underway, and the games have been awesome.
Oh, yes.
Aren't you happy that I helped to introduce you to the glory of hockey?
Chris, I would like to state officially for the record, I loved hockey before I came up here. I actually used to go to AHL games in San Antonio. But the NHL has something beautiful about it, and that is
parity.
Yes. And even bad teams, once in a while, the Phoenix Coyotes can win a game still.
The Vegas Golden Knights actually won their first ever game.
Well, yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, their goalie. Have you seen him lately?
Oh, I know. I watched him against Washington. We're gonna ignore. we watched him own the Capitals again. You know,
for the millionth time, apparently.
Yeah, because the Capitals just. Sorry, guys, you can't ever beat the Penguins.
All right, so
change your name to the Blackhawks, and maybe you'll win something. Hey, anything is better than being in
do you want some salt in that wound?
Hey, anything is better than being in the National Football League right about now, because that's a mess.
So quick rundown of tonight. We got the NBA. Not much of it, but we got a little bit. We've got the MLB. We got the NHL. And then just the glory that currently is Roger Goodell's Sports League.
By glory, I think the
even the webcam mocks us.
Yeah. I mean, that's the right answer as we casually adjust it. That hand and that arm hair. Look at that arm hair that is focused.
I will let you know that somehow I was genetically engineered for New England winters. This beard
helps a lot.
I'm Mexican, okay?
Yeah.
This just somehow emerged. I have no idea. I'd blame my ancestry, but I don't know what it is completely.
I mean, you are more engineered for New England than I am, and I was born here. And my family has been in these parts since the 1630s.
So what that tells you is New England is technically uninhabitable, were it not for the modern of science currently.
No, but seriously, though. I mean, right now it's actually warm, but wait until December time. Well, it will be frozen.
Look, at the rate that climate change is going, by the end of our lives, there'll be a nice beachfront.
I'm partly not opposed to that.
Yeah, well, I'd like New England to stay New England, so.
Don't worry, it'll find other ways to be parochial and backwards.
The New Englander calling out the Texan. Oh, dear goodness, what is going on here?
Trust me, I know how. Oh, no, I'm not calling out the Texan. I'm just pointing out that Boston is backwards and parochial.
So I would like, very, very brief. So before we kick things off, I'm just going to highlight something on our scorecard.
Yeah.
I told you, once in a blue moon, the Coyotes could potentially win a game.
Dude, they're playing Las Vegas right now. That game should hardly count. I know it does, but it hardly counts. And hey, even the Oilers can completely choke against the Canucks sometimes. It's only the first period, though. Don't worry, the Canucks will blow this somehow.
McDavid, it's time for your extension to come through.
Yeah, it's the only thing the Oilers are going to have for a little bit.
Moving on.
There's only one thing to talk about with the NBA if we're actually going to get into that. It's that, it's happening.
Injuries, the preseason.
And that's that. The only injury of note that I've seen is Nicholas Batum pretty much dooming the Charlotte Hornets. That's a team that we kind of like on this show. And, I just feel bad for them.
As an Eastern Conference team, potentially you have an easy job. And sadly, when you are linked to one player and that player goes down.
Well, they're not really. That's not their primary guy that they're linked to.
Well, no,
Kemba's their man.
Kemba, but they need
someone.
They need at least a number 2.
Yeah.
As the 2007 NBA Finals proved, number one man cannot lead a team to a victory.
Yeah.
And number two, if you actually face a semi-competent team, the one man will get destroyed.
Oh, yeah. Well,
maybe not destroyed, but slowed down at least.
Yeah, I'm of the opinion that Kemba Walker needs to be traded out of this godforsaken city that has failed him.
I'd be inclined to agree if he wasn't a franchise player at this point.
Yeah. Well, also, who would you trade him to?
Any other Eastern Conference team that'll give you picks. Hey, Nets, I hear you're a bargain sale right now.
They don't
take offers.
They don't have any draft picks. They traded all those to the Celtics.
Oh, believe me, they'll be willing to give up some more, given their current ownership.
Probably. I mean, they are starting to talk about selling right now. Actually,
does that surprise you in the least bit?
No.
Mozgov had his fun little experiment go horribly awry.
Well done, dude. Well done. Very well done. You know,
you may be a Russian oligarch, but believe me, when it actually comes down to sports,
you know, at least Brook Lopez got out of that disaster.
This is probably one of the few times I'll say this. Going to LA for the first time ever has been an upgrade.
I still hate the Lakers.
I
will never not hate the Lakers, but good on Lopez for going to a halfway competent situation.
You'll take what you can get.
Yeah, I respect him, and I respect the fact that he is now in a not awful organization.
Hey, man. It's all him now.
Oh, it is. It's Lonzo out in LA, really, but
well, we'll see how Lonzo turns out. He's good, but come regular season, I think the dynamic's going to change. I don't trust preseason. I just can't.
I don't think you really should.
I mean, it gives you an idea, but
that's
basically it.
Yeah, pretty much. Any event, so not much going on, just speculation as to what could shape up, and hopefully there's some parity. Just go to hockey for that.
Total speculation.
Not a whole lot more than that. We get started with the season towards the end of the month. Meanwhile, another sport, a more venerable, more ancient, more morally upright sport, as many would say, like my brother. My brother believes that baseball is the most morally just sport in the world.
Really?
In terms of the way the sport itself works, not the culture that surrounds it.
In terms of the way that the sport works?
I don't know.
Your brother's in law school for a reason. I'll sit down and ask him one of these days.
Yeah, he just believes it to be objectively the best sport.
Hey, if you're a stat fiend like I am,
it is great.
I love it.
But I have been really not wanting to take a look at these playoffs for my team's sake.
You need a hug.
No, I don't. I need you to stop patronizing me.
Patronizing? I'd never.
Do you see my eyes right now?
Nope.
Do you
I don't.
Camera, you see my eyes, right? Is there any bit of happiness in my eyes right now?
Maybe. All right, so let's just keep this brief then.
Jose Altuve should be the MVP of the American League. Oh my God, he's destroying the Red Sox single-handedly.
Remind me why he didn't get it.
What? Oh, they haven't announced it yet. They're not going to announce the regular season awards until after the playoffs are done.
Remind me why they haven't announced it yet.
I don't know.
He's a one-man wrecking crew for Houston right now.
The only competitor I could see for him winning the MVP this year is Judge in New York.
Yep.
And this isn't a result of me being biased against the Yankees. I love Judge. I know Judge from his days with the Whitecaps.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think that Altuve had a better total package season than Judge. If Judge would have kept up his total pace from the first half of the season to the All-Star break,
clear winner.
Oh, he'd be the clear MVP, and it would be absolutely no contest. Also, the Yankees would have overtaken the Red Sox in the AL East. Yep. So they would have had a force that absolutely no one could stop. They figured out how to stop him, and he threw off his own timing by doing the home run derby. So, yeah.
It's done. It's done.
Yeah.
We move on. We live.
So Also, the Red Sox get absolutely no starting pitching.
No.
Chris Sale looked awful. Drew Pomeranz looked even worse.
Who's on the mound for you tomorrow?
Doug Fister.
Doesn't exactly inspire confidence in me at the moment.
How do you think I feel?
Ready to get swept?
I'll never concede it because I'm a hopeless Red Sox fan, but
hey, you go down with the ship. I respect that.
Oh, I know I do, but
I'm on the bandwagon right now for the Stros because the Rangers had a shit season.
We try not swearing, but whatever. The only thing that I will say is
please love us sponsors. I'm terribly sorry.
Please. The only thing I will say is that Brad Peacock is an okay starter for Houston. He's going for game 3. Okay. That's about it. But unless we can find some way to combat Altuve. Oh, and Eduardo Nunez is now off the postseason roster for us. Injured. Chris Young has replaced him. Young actually scored one of the only 2 runs that we got in our last game.
I know, but you can't be losing pieces like this. Not now.
Trust me, I know. There's a part of me that wants to believe that we will pull out some fluke victory at home because it's Fenway and we somehow do that. But Houston is the better team. They have the better offense. They have the better setup. So I fully trust that that they'll pull out a win, that they will pull out a series win, whether it be a gentleman's sweep in 4, whether it's a straight up sweep in 3. I don't know what it's going to be, but I know Houston's winning.
We'll see what's happening.
I've known for a while that this Red Sox team is not a championship squad.
They were missing a couple of pieces.
They never replaced David Ortiz. Not for personality's sake, even though that's a big thing. But there's no power on this team. Yeah, David, could you have not retired 1 year early?
I mean, the only guy I can think of going back in my little knowledge book like this, the last time I remember something like this happening was the Chicago White Sox and Frank Thomas.
Yeah. There's a major outage in the south side of Chicago when the Big Hurt left.
Yep.
And with Big Poppy gone, Fenway Park has not seen as many home runs. And the offense has not been good, and they were depended on the best starting pitcher in baseball. Well, at least in the American League, and Chris Sale for most of the season, but he looked terrible in the playoffs in this first playoff game. Pomeranz looked even worse, and that's not a good way.
Isn't Price scheduled to potentially start?
Price is coming out of the bullpen for the playoff run, and he actually pitched in the game yesterday in game 2. He looked okay, but only okay. And here's just a few things to note. The difference in the batting average. Houston's team batting average is 282. Boston's is 258.
There's no power whatsoever by the sound of it.
Well, here's the home run total. 238 home runs for the Houston Astros. 168 home runs for Boston. That's bad. That's really bad.
Well, if it's any consolation for you, the Indians are making the Yankees suffer.
Oh, trust me. I am enjoying that greatly. I love Judge, but dude, I want your team to lose. I want your team to fail epically. Please, just lose. So, Indians, well done. Keep it up. Go into the Bronx and beat them. Beat the Baby Bombers and sweep them.
You have your marching orders. Terry Francona, I know you're watching.
Tito, I love you, Tito. I love you, Terry. Go win. Go win. Go shut it down. Go prove that you're a Hall of Fame manager. Seriously, I think Tito should be in the Hall of Fame today.
I don't blame you. Meanwhile, in the NL,
we've got one game that's going on right now as we speak.
Really?
Yeah.
Diamondbacks and the Dodgers.
Dodgers are up 3-2 on a surprisingly good Diamondbacks team. And
they came out the gate swinging.
Yeah. I mean, they beat up Colorado pretty badly.
Yeah. And meanwhile, the Nationals have a split with the Cubs. Zimmerman and Bryce Harper have earned themselves, that, which we don't have, but we would like.
We would very much like. I mean, we already knew that Harper was worth all kinds of money.
I mean,
Do you think Houston?
When they first signed Harper, you knew he was worth money. The big question was how much?
Now he is worth the big money. Do you think that Washington will actually be able to keep him?
If they can make it this year to the World Series, I think they will. But that's a big if right there. That, and they're going to fork over a lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot of money.
There's no salary cap in baseball, but you're committing so many resources that there may as well be a salary cap in some way.
Mm-hmm.
The Yankees are an endless pool of money, and the Red Sox will pursue him. And actually, Bryce Harper to Boston, please.
Hey, you want a bat to replace David Ortiz? That's I could go. I could go with fewer options than that.
Though I'm just realizing he'd have to go into the outfield. We have Benintendi, Betts, and Bradley. We'd have to move some pieces around, I guess.
You would have to move some pieces, but that also means you can work on your infield. Or your pitching staff, currently. I don't care which.
We're not going to talk about the Red Sox anymore on this podcast.
Okay, so that leaves, well...
Game 1 between the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. LA turned it on.
Their bats are heavy. Their pitching is good.
They should...
I don't see a sweep, but unless the Diamondbacks really pull something out of the Rabbits' hat, nothing. Maybe a win. Maybe.
I mean, I like Robbie Ray as a pitcher, and I like what he can do, but they're hanging tough. It's 3-2 in the bottom of the 5th inning right now, so
we shall see.
Dodgers leading in the bottom of the 5th. Very briefly, Paul Goldschmidt with a solo homer, with a 2-run homer in the first to put Arizona up 2-0. Puig with a ground out to drive in a run. Forsythe scores on a wild pitch by Robbie Ray, and Taylor reached on an infield single to drive in a run. So they're getting creative. Goldie's going to have to come up with more offense for them.
Yep.
But Goldie, the consistent NL MVP candidate, and I wouldn't be shocked if Goldie ended up winning this year's MVP. But I haven't looked.
I hope he does.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to take a deeper look at how everyone else did because I am an AL guy, and we both are really.
Yeah.
So I'd have to take a deeper look at it. But so Red Sox versus Houston, almost certainly it's going to be a Houston win.
Let's move to slightly nicer pastures.
Yeah. Do we want to subject ourselves to the horror show of the NFL? You call that nicer pastures?
We get to laugh.
Okay, that's great.
That's my only consolation at this point because we have no money.
Yeah,
we have none. So
yeah. Do you see the room we're doing this in right now?
I mean, we constantly comment on it. The good news is the sewage pipes finally aren't in the picture.
That's something. And the good news is that
we finally have a fan.
I mean, we've always had a fan,
but it's pointed at my computer because it always overheats.
Let's hope it doesn't overheat.
It'll be fine.
Somehow, some way, it always works itself out. By some fluky way, it somehow manages.
So, for perspective, if the NFL makes me laugh, I'm gonna be okay.
So let us enjoy our glorious laughs at this thing we call football.
So, let's just cover the Sunday games and the Thursday night game because you need redemption.
Do you know how badly I want to kill you right now?
Very. Sadly, there'll be proof online of homicide.
I said want to, not going to.
Intent to homicide. I'm not sure where that falls in the legal spectrum, but I'm sure your brother will know.
I haven't done anything, so I'm in the clear still. I have only threatened in jest, so we're good. In any event, our attempts at comedy are still attempts. Whether or not they are successful are up to the audience. Please find us funny.
The audience being us.
Please find us funny. Any event.
The Saints and the Dolphins. I don't know where to go with this.
Do we want to look forward to the future games or something? Because we've got games that are going on tomorrow that are going to be actually kind of interesting.
So let's hit a couple of these at least. Okay.
Yeah.
The Bills beat the Falcons. Holy cow! My prediction actually came true.
What the Falcons would choke?
But the Bills would actually be semi-decent for once.
Yeah, the Bills are actually not an awful team, and they're 3-1 right now. They are in first place in the East.
Okay, so Panthers Patriots.
We don't talk about that game.
It happened. The end.
The Patriots defense was garbage, and Bill Belichick.
I will say this: Cam Newton is again showing why he was and still technically is an MVP style candidate. Consistency could use some work, but you know what? In Carolina, you take what you can get currently. Now, the game right below that on the ticker, the Titans versus the Texans.
Quote, game, close quote.
So, supposedly at some point, the NFC South, if I'm not mistaken, was supposed to have competition for top dog.
Then Deshaun Watson decided he's going to be a real quarterback on a team that was stacked.
Once again, the Browns have proven to find failure and give a team success. The Browns gave the Patriots Belichick. The Browns have just given Deshaun Watson to the Texans.
Well, they helped give an opportunity, but yeah, my own details. Watson, 25 completions on 34 attempts, 283 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick. Marcus Mariota was just a pile of garbage. 6 of 10 for 96 yards and 2 picks.
Wow.
And he was the leading rusher for the Titans, and he ran for 39 yards. He did score both. He did score both of Tennessee's touchdowns, by the way.
The Tennessee Titans now running the quarterback's version of the Wildcat.
Pretty much, yeah. It was truly awful. 57-14.
Speaking of truly awful.
Yep.
We are now on our favorite segment of the week. Death, taxes,
and the Cleveland
Browns.
Oh, what are we going to talk about when their bye week hits? Death taxes and the
Cleveland Browns.
Don't worry. Even though they didn't play, they will still find a way to disappoint.
One day when either of us is in Cleveland, we're just going to walk by the Browns stadium and just save it as a memento.
The Factory of Sadness.
The Factory of Sadness.
It really is. It's so bad. They're so bad. They lost to Cincinnati. They made Andy Dalton look like Tom Brady, but with red hair. 25 completions.
You have turned a sub 500 team quarterback into what looks like an MVP style candidate.
25 completions on 30 attempts for 286 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's what Dalton did against the Browns. Oh, and funny thing though, Dalton was the leading rusher for the Bengals too. He ran for 29 yards.
I could put cardboard cutouts of the Cleveland Browns defense out there right now, and it actually might be more effective than their current defense.
It probably would be. Deshaun Kaiser, 16 of 34 for 118 yards and a pick. Didn't throw for a touchdown.
I'll give him credit for the yardage, but
I barely do.
Oh,
boy, that's pretty terrible.
How's the run game look for them? That's what I really want to know.
Their leading rusher was Isaiah Crowell. 7 attempts for 20 yards. Oh,
I love this section every week because there's a new statistic that pops up that makes me go, huh. I guess being in a basement with no windows and no ventilation isn't as bad as I thought it was.
They're so bad. You could be the Cleveland Browns.
I might not have money, but at least I have some dignity at this point.
They took out Kaiser and brought in back quarterback for them, Hogan.
The future of the Cleveland Browns. That's going to last for 3 weeks until the offensive line makes him so susceptible to fear that he will just take a knee.
He went 5 of 8 for 65 yards. Didn't throw for a touchdown. Oh, the only touchdown scored was scored
a pick
by
6 or something.
No, scored by Duke Johnson on a 1-yard touchdown run.
Well,
so
you found your averages, folks. So if you give the Cleveland Browns about 30 runs and they somehow manage to convert on every third down,
Yeah,
You
and
got a touchdown.
between all of their running backs, between all the people who ran, they ran the ball 17 times for a grand total of 45 yards. People,
You're making me do division that makes my head hurt.
People, this team is awful. This team is just so awful. They did not fumble the football, or rather, they did not lose a fumble. We are making giant progress here.
You have held on to the ball. I commend you.
Their kicker had one field goal attempt and he missed it.
Missed.
Not quite as
from what distance?
What was the distance? It doesn't list it here exactly, but I'll take a look at it.
If it's within 40 yards, I have serious questions to ask. Not that I already don't, but I have more. Jeez.
Of course you do.
While he looks that up, Cowboys Rams, Los Angeles. Congratulations on Jerry Jones, on giving Jerry Jones a collective aneurysm.
And
that's all I got.
And for
giving some life to the team.
Yeah, the Rams, who actually looked like they might be competent when we came into it and thought, what?
Right in the Chargers.
Okay, so
I think the Chargers are still winless.
Yeah, the Chargers are still
winless. The Chargers and the Giants.
And the Browns. Oh, and by the way, the missed field goal, 48 yards.
Okay, okay. I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah, we can't be mean about that.
Still, you couldn't even get it within range. Once again, questions.
Too many questions.
And now for perspective. A team that has beaten the Cleveland Browns, just to end the segment on a high note. The Cleveland Browns lost to a team that was also winless at the time.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Indianapolis Colts, who lost to the Seahawks 46-18.
And that game got off to a pretty slow start, actually.
Extrapolating that curve, Cleveland, you are currently in the negatives.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Cleveland, you bring me joy every week.
Joy at your failure.
At this point, I must express my sincere gratitude for this.
You want to hear something crazy about the Seahawks-Colts game? Here's the score after the first quarter.
0-0?
No. Seattle 3, Indy 2.
Man, that's a rocketing start right there.
Safeties are fun. At least their defense did something, and at least Blair Walsh went from missing field goals in Minnesota to sometimes making field goals in Seattle. It's something. I'm willing to take anything. And then they poured it on. Seattle scored 22 points in the third quarter and 14 in the fourth, and ended up winning 46-18. Indy, Jacoby Brissett, I love you, dude. You're screwed. You're every single shade of screwed, dude. Sorry.
Take solace in the fact that you have one win.
Yeah, it's something more than Cleveland.
Wah, wah.
All right, so do we want to look ahead to the oncoming slate of games, or is there anything else notable that we want to take out in this list of failure? I am already circling one game.
Right, collectively on the screen, just boing. Oh, this is going to be a cavalcade of Travis. Wow, this week is really good.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
If you like awful football, we have the weekend for you. Let's circle the big game.
This is going to be a good weekend.
1 p.m.
Okay. So, all these games are effectively all the good games are effectively at 1, okay?
Yeah.
The 49ers versus the Colts. The 49ers have shown some life. The Colts have yet to show up to the field collectively.
Except Jacoby Brissett. Sure. He's good. If your quarterback is good, you can win a game. They have won a game.
Take solace.
Yeah, it's something.
Further down the card, Bills versus Bengals. I actually expect the Bills to win that one. They're showing gusto.
Also, it's the Bungles. Let's be real here. It's the Bungles.
Go. Continue on with your life.
Yeah, pretty much.
4:25, Packers Cowboys.
I will watch that game. And this is a rematch of the great playoff game between the Packers and Cowboys, in which Rodgers turned God mode.
Rodgers turned on the Konami code and just started throwing.
Going and winning. Gotta love Rodgers.
So we've also got the Chiefs-Texans. That's probably going to be pretty good.
That is actually going to be a really fun game.
Andy Reid versus the revitalized Texans.
Yeah. Now, the question for that game, for me at least, can Watson carry his momentum from beating Tennessee into playing an elite team in the Chiefs? Because they are an elite team.
This is going to be his first real test in the fire.
Yeah.
My guess is slow start, but he seems to pick up later in the games.
Sounds about accurate.
The number 2 potentially list, the number 2 game on our list, just for sheer fact that both teams are actually winless, which means someone has to win.
Must.
Chargers versus Giants.
Oh, God. I don't know.
Eli Manning versus Phillip Rivers.
Oh, my God. I don't know who I want to lose more.
I want to keep cursing Spanos.
Yep, because Mr. Spanos,
okay, so the question,
you deserve it.
The question you have to ask yourself is, do you hate Manning or Spanos more?
And
you hate both of them pretty ripe.
Oh, I absolutely despise the Giants.
But
Dean Spanos is a horrible human being for the way that he managed his business.
You're actually going to willingly put on a Manning jersey?
No, I'm just going to hope for both of them to spontaneously combust. I'm just going to hope they both fall.
If the field is consumed by meteoric hellfire, that would not be, granted, besides the horrific loss of life, symbolically, it would mean something.
How honest do you want me to be in answering that? We're going to move on before I can.
The Fifth Amendment exists for a reason, folks.
We're going to move on before I can actually answer that claim.
But with all due respect to the teams, very briefly, I want the Giants to win.
You so despise Spanos.
I actually like Phillip Rivers. He's a decent quarterback. The Chargers are actually, granted, besides the whole team fiasco currently, they're a respectable squad. They've got holes. I mean, they're winless. But Dean Spanos has so thoroughly, I just want to say, messed with the team at this point. I'm looking for a better word, but I can't think of it.
Mm-hmm.
I want the Giants to win. Dean Spanos, if the Browns don't go winless this season and the Chargers do, we'd be fine with that. Just deserves at this point.
Especially since they should never have gone to LA in the first place.
Oh, yeah.
They should never have set foot in Carson. They gave the world a road game dominated by Eagles fans. That's unacceptable. Did you know that the Eagles at one point had a had a courtroom and a jail in their stadium?
They still do, I think.
No, the judge retired. So they shut it down. Yeah, it was
that's rich. That is just rich.
Allow me to look this story up so I can but keep filling the air while I look this up.
Well, I mean, quite frankly, at this point, we can just talk about.
There's only one more game. There's one more game that is just wonderful. It's so terrible.
It's the butt fumble versus the Browns.
Oh my God. Can you believe?
My heart sings with joy.
We get to laugh at the true dregs of sport. This is going to be awesome.
You know what? I will say this on air. Do you want to come over tomorrow at 1 o'clock? Because tomorrow's my off day.
Not mine. I'm going down to Connecticut.
So if I were to buy a copy of the game later, would you watch it with me?
Absolutely.
Oh, all right. We have a activity planned for Monday.
Oh God, it's gonna be terrible. All right, so
where do we even begin with something like this? Again, our podcast now is gaining a theme of failure.
Mm-hmm.
And we have found our home
in the Cleveland Browns
and in the Jets. At some point, I will openly say I might just buy a Browns jersey just to say that I support you in your endeavor to fail.
Now, there's a very important question.
And again, I would like to make this very clear. I respect the Dog Pound. You have my respect.
They are loyal fans.
You are loyal to a level that is just true sportsdom.
Well done, dude.
And
well done.
I will partake of it in my own way of mocking the management that has mangled your franchise.
Oh yeah. Truly, truly awful. All right, so do you mind if I sidetrack and offer up a story about Eagles Court?
Go for it, man.
So
I'm all ears.
I need to share this with my brother. He would absolutely love this. So
I'm surprised we haven't actually mentioned this before because actually I was aware of this.
You were?
Yeah.
Well,
the city of brotherly love.
No brother.
Not so much in the Eagle Stadium.
They got no love for no brothers. That's Emmitt Smith's line, so I could just quote him on that. So there's a guy named Seamus McCaffrey, who was a retired justice on the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania. He was the judge at Eagles Court, an ad hoc court created to deal with unruly fans at Philadelphia Eagles games. They started this at Veterans Stadium in 1997 and carried this into the brand new field at Lincoln Financial, which is where they still play. McCaffrey, by the way, was he's from Belfast. Family came here when he was 5.
Wow.
Graduated from Cardinal Doherty High School in Philadelphia. Sorry, guys, I don't like Philly. No offense, but not my.
No offense, but all the offense.
He joined the Marines.
Wow.
So yeah, he was quite accomplished. He put himself while he was a police officer. He came back from duty, finished up as a Marine Corps soldier, and joined the Philadelphia Police Department and was in the reserves for the Marines. He served in the police department for 20 years and rose to a sergeant. While he was a police officer, he put himself through university at LaSalle and law school at Temple. Became a member of the Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Washington, D.C. bars and worked as a litigation associate. He retired as a colonel in the U.S. Air Force Reserve in 2008. He's also a Mason, by the way, because of course he is. He won election to municipal court in Philadelphia in 1993 because apparently you vote for people. He developed Eagles Court in 1998 in response to a 1997 Monday Night Football game between the Eagles and the 49ers. With over 60 fist fights reported at the nationally televised game, stadium violence became an embarrassment for the city. McCaffrey presided over the court, which convened in the basement of Veterans Stadium and handed out fines or jail time to fans arrested during games. My God, this is awesome.
You know, every major city needs a sports quirk.
Eagles fans like to beat each other up.
And apparently throw snowballs at Santa.
My mom was at that game, by the way. Like my mom was there, so I have verifiable evidence that this happened.
Come on, guys.
This was real.
Come on. I've seen MMA fight promotions that have been more peaceful than that.
Yeah, that actually happened, guys.
All right, well, in any event,
so we know what we're watching.
Browns, Jets, who's your money on?
Oh God. I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but the Jets.
You're already rooting for Eli Manning, Chris. This is nothing new at this point.
I'm not really rooting for Eli Manning, though. I'm just hoping that everyone fails in that game.
It's a draw, 0-0.
No, but seriously though, I want everyone to fail. Words. Why are words so hard for me right now?
It's late at night and you've covered 3 games already.
4.
And now we see Chris Lynch emerge from his hibernation. What will he say now?
That's a terrible impression of whoever you're trying to do. Please don't ever do that again. You should be embarrassed. That's an embarrassment for all of San Antonio and all of Mexico. That was truly awful.
I'm pretty sure Howard Cosell is laughing in his grave right now.
Howard Cosell is laughing at what pitiful impressions you could possibly do of the great broadcaster and the even worse human being. So, I love that you picked up on that. So, what were we talking about before we got off topic?
The Browns and the Jets.
Oh, right. I actually have to pull for the Browns in this game.
Really?
Any victory that the Jets get is making things uncomfortable for my Patriots.
Okay. I can understand.
But
in this case, I have to take a stand. The Browns must continue their legacy.
Okay, so
what's the stat line for it?
Yeah, pull that up. Jets versus Browns. Also, I just pulled up this amazing stat. Okay, this is truly incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Brady on Thursday won his 186th game as a starting quarterback.
Wow.
The Cleveland Browns have won 186 games if you count their history. Are you ready for this? If you count the history of the Cleveland Browns going back to 1983, you would get the same number of games that Brady has won in his career.
Okay, so side note, the Patriots got redemption in the Thursday night game.
Oh, I know.
I will give them credit where credit's due.
Granted, Nick Folk does not know how to kick a football. He missed 3 field goals for Tampa. And I'm going to pull it up so I could just show these distances. And he missed all of them hard to the left. It was a sight to behold how truly awful it was. Anywho, so do you have a line on the game?
I'm trying to find it right now.
You're not doing a good job of it, clearly. All right.
What, you think I'm a professional? How dare you make that assumption? Browns, Jets positions. Who will win on Sunday? According to Cleveland.com. Oh boy, bias on this one, folks.
Oh my God.
Browns 20, Jets 17. The guy is 4-0.
Oh, that's cute.
3-1, Browns 24, Jets 14.
All right.
3-1, Browns 23, Jets 20.
Oh God.
3-1, Jets 20, Browns 17. 2-2, Browns 17, Jets 16. How do you even get some of those numbers? 16, really?
The Jets can, the Browns can score points. The Browns can do things. Anyway, so let me just sum up. We're bouncing back and forth between topics, but you're still searching for an actual odd lines.
To cap it off, Vegas says
it's a pick'em.
Yeah, wow. It's flat.
All right, that's kind of weird.
That's a flat one right there.
Yeah, all right. Whatevs. We're gonna roll with this, I guess.
So according to this, Jets 20, Browns 17.
Okay.
Wow. Jets will hand Brown first win. Wow, this is a toss-up.
Well, I'm checking on the ESPN app, and they list off the lines underneath. So Dallas favored by 3 over the Packers. The Lions are favored by 2.5.
The Browns are favored by Pick Center.
Yeah, the Browns are favored by 1 point on ESPN for the official line.
Right there.
So, do you want to hear about these missed field goals that Nick Folk kicked for Tampa?
Less than 40 yards?
Well, one of them was 56, so I can't be mean about that.
We can't talk about that one.
So that was an actual legitimate. And also, that was 56 yards at the very end of the half. So I won't say anything about that one. That's obviously hard play to make. The second one. You ready for this? The second one.
35 yards.
Where is it? Disappeared on my person for a second here.
And this is why we have no budget, folks.
Yeah, mine.
Soon to hopefully be in my house.
Well, it missed for 49 yards, so okay, that one isn't too bad either.
So that was a desperation field goal.
And the third one was 31 yards. Yeah, Nick Folk had a terrible night. He went 0 for 3 kicking field goals. Well done, dude. So,
Now we get to the free-for-all. That is NHL hockey.
You know, a good league.
Yeah, one that I'll watch a lot more.
Yeah. Ooh, we've got a good game between Vegas and Arizona. The fact that I'm saying this right now is one of the strangest things that has ever happened to me. It's 1-1 with 1:12 left to go in regulation.
Overtime.
And look, the Winnipeg Jets might actually win a game
against the Calgary Flames.
Also, I must see if Yager has scored in this game, and I'm so disappointed.
He hasn't started yet, has he?
Need to check that.
Yager, I think in his contract will stipulate when he walks on for them.
TJ Brody has got both goals for the Flames, but that's only in the second period, so we've got time. We got mad time.
Just to kind of look at the standings right now in the Eastern Conference.
In the way too early department, by the way.
Yes, I know the laws of averages will kick in eventually.
Yeah, but just a few things of interesting notes. Let's walk through the games that have intrigued us the most lately.
Well, I guess we can start with yesterday.
Do you want to talk about how
Thursday?
All things being equal, I just think Matt Murray is too good right now. He is playing at
stopping power.
He is stopping so many shots.
Incredible.
He is going into and shutting down Chicago, only allowing them to roar to a 10-1 victory. Truly outstanding and elite goaltending. Patrick Waugh would be proud of him.
I've heard of hangovers, but this is literally coming to the bar, pissing on it, and then saying you want more.
Yeah. I think they still need Marc-Andre Fleury back there in net.
What are they going to give to the Golden Knights for that one?
Mario Lemieux? Sure, he could still play better than most of the guys on the team. I don't know.
Damning with faint praise, are we?
I mean, you will note the upward inflection I added onto it. I don't know who I'm going to add on. What are you grabbing there? Okay, you're just fixing yourself up. I'm trying to think of other things to note. And the Blackhawks went on to beat the Blue Jackets 5-1. So this offensive surge is...
The Blackhawks are back to form.
Yeah, this is a good
Does that surprise us?
Not in any way. The fact that they have readied themselves.
I think getting blown out by the Preds really stung and really made them realize we just need to kick butt now.
I mean, all they did really in the offseason was get the unit back together that they had last year.
And if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Hope that the players themselves aren't broken.
So also on that date, Canadians beat the Sabres.
Okay, not shocking.
The Red Wings beat the Wild.
In the first game at a brand new stadium after the Joe has been shut down. Really sad. I wanted to go see a game of Joe Louis Arena. Never got the chance to.
Well, in any event, it would appear that the Red Wings, they did some shakeups. Nothing I consider to be too crazy.
Just wait until Zetterberg retires and the last links to the Empire are gone.
Well, it's a refresh.
Yeah.
And they know it, and I think they acknowledge that it's required.
Yeah.
So let's just go with the flow right now. If you're gonna rebuild, guess what, guys? You started and starting off 2-0, bit of a surprise. Bad. Take it for what it's worth.
Yeah. Anaheim beat Phoenix. They're now called Arizona. Anaheim they fell behind 4-1 at one point, and
then they just did what the Ducks do. You come in,
play dirty. That's what the Ducks do, right? Did you watch that series between Nashville and Anaheim?
Oh yeah.
That was a That was a messy, ugly, grimy, elbowy series. It was like Scott Stevens on steroids and playing offense. By the way, have you ever seen the hit that Scott Stevens put on Paul Correa?
The one where he tried getting up and then fell straight back down?
He never even tried to get up.
Oh.
We'll show you this after the podcast.
Yeah, I know Scott Stevens is an enforcer.
He's the greatest.
Well, yeah, he's
He's the most deadly player in the history of the National Hockey League. That's why he's in the Hall of Fame. And also, he captained 3 Stanley Cup championship teams.
To say, wasn't he referred to as a brick wall?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, well.
Stevens is one of the all-time tough guys in the history of the National Hockey League. Chris Pronger is the greatest dirty player in the history of the National Hockey League. You can do a lot when you're 6'6", except make the Whalers a playoff team. Yeah, Pronger started with the Hartford Whalers.
Really?
We traded him
to
the Blues,
where he found much success by the sound of it.
Well, I mean, he won a Norris Trophy, and he led them to the President's Cup a few times and became one of the elite defensemen. He would reach the Stanley Cup Finals with the Edmonton Oilers, who would immediately trade him to the Anaheim Ducks, where he would win a Stanley Cup in 2007 along with Teemu Selanne. So he has his name on the cup.
Well, you wormed your way into history. Congratulations.
Yeah,
better than we've done so far.
Yeah, you're the greatest dirty player in the history of the National Hockey League. Fit in just nicely with Anaheim.
And
anything else to note from the recent games? Well, other than the Islanders being totally inept,
they're 1-1 right now.
Yeah, you wouldn't tell that by looking at their performance against Columbus.
Scores, yeah.
Well, also Vegas actually won a game.
So real quick, the standings are as follows. In the Eastern Conference, the Atlantic Division, the Maple Leafs are 2-0, and so are the Red Wings. Bruins are up 1. Lightning, Panthers are split. Senators,
slow start. They're recovering from horrendous heartbreak.
Well, they also hemorrhaged a couple of players, I think.
Yeah, I need to check exactly what changes were happened to the roster, but enough of them were significant.
And the worst part is both of those losses were overtime.
Yeah.
The Canadiens are standing mightily tall at 1-1. And the Sabres are, well, the Sabres.
Sorry, guys.
It's going to be one of those years.
Hey, at least they got 1 point out of the Canadiens game.
They also got Eichel to an 8-year contract. So, longevity.
Hey, anything to keep Eichel around, right?
Hey, at that point, yeah.
I think we're just happy that Jágr is still playing in the league.
I think we are too.
Yeah. Anyway,
Washington Capitals, Ovechkin.
You're actually playing good hockey again, and yeah. Hey, Ovi, you want to actually win something in the postseason? You want to ever beat the Penguins?
Now, let's go, man. Not that I need to remind you by any stretch of the imagination, but now, please.
Do you ever want to, I don't know, beat the Penguins?
Let's see. At this rate, how many hockey games are there in a season?
82.
82. So at his current scoring rate, that is goals, if I'm not mistaken, he's going to end this season with 162 goals.
Scoring
166.
Scoring is assists and goals.
Well, he has 2 hat tricks in 2 games. So I'm going on goals specifically right here.
He would at least approach Gretzky's record for most goals in a game, or most goals in a season,
which is
pulling up the record right now.
Okay. Well, meanwhile, the Penguins are split at 1-1-1, 1 win, 1 loss, 1 overtime loss. The Devils are standing tall at 1 win. The Hurricanes are at 1 win. The Blue Jackets are split 1 win, 1 loss. Flyers 1 win, 1 loss. The Islanders split, and the Rangers, King Heinrich, what? 2 losses.
Not too bad. So
not too bad.
So King Henrik. Actually, so that record for most goals in one season, Gretzky has the top 2 goal seasons.
No surprise there.
1984, he scored 87 goals in one season.
Okay.
1982, he had the single greatest season that any player has ever had. 92 goals and 120 assists for 212 points. He is the only player to get 200 points in a season, and he did it 3 times. 212 points in 82, 205 points in 1984, a year in which he won the Cup and the Conn Smythe, by the way. And 1985, he got 205 points on 135 assists.
Ovechkin, you have your marching orders.
The next highest goal scorer for one
Lemieux?
single season, Lemieux is fourth with 85 goals, and he came the closest to getting 200 with 199 points in the 89 season. All he needed was one more assist, and he would have joined Gretzky. He scored 85 goals in 89.
So who has the next highest goals after Gretzky?
Brett Hull. He scored 86 goals in 1991. And Brett Hull that season scored 50 goals in the first 50 games of the season.
Jeez.
Oh, and in 1982, Gretzky scored 50 goals in the first 39 games of the season. and he scored in the 39th game of the season, he scored 5 goals. Gretzky is the greatest hockey player of all time, in case that wasn't obvious enough.
We heart Yager, though.
Oh, yeah, we totally love Yager.
Okay.
Yager's been around forever. Yager doesn't show up on the list of the highest goal scorers.
But he is so consistent, we respect it.
Oh, yeah, but his highest total is 27th best all time, when he scored 62 goals in the 96 season. I think he won the MVP award that year.
In any event, so the Western Conference, Blackhawks.
Wow.
You came out sprinting after being slapped in the face by the Preds.
Well done, guys.
Keep it up. The Blues are 2-0. The Avalanche have a split. The Wild have 1 loss, 1 overtime loss. The Jets have 1 loss. The Stars and the Preds are in the cellar at 0-2.
And also worth noting, the Jets are playing right now, so that record will change very shortly.
The Oilers are currently standing atop the Pacific Division.
And they've only played 1 game. In fact, every team in the Pacific's only played 1 game.
The Canucks, according to this, haven't even played a single game. So there you go.
The Canucks are playing tonight.
Right now.
They're up 3-1 on the Oilers with 3:30 to go in the second. So they've got an entire period to go. And the Flames are beating the Jets 4-3. I must check who got these goals. Did Johnny Gaudreau get any of them? Johnny Gaudreau got 1 of them. I hate Johnny Gaudreau. He played for Boston College, but I respect him because he's really good.
That love-hate relationship.
Oh, I respect him, but I hate him.
So, bonkers wild predictions, which we know will be totally wrong, but we need to say something to save face.
Well, you want to hear something crazy?
Go.
Vegas is 2-0.
Vegas is going to win their conference. Problem solved.
They scored an overtime goal. James Neal has scored 3 of the 4 goals that Vegas has gotten this season.
So that leads to the question: what is their attendance?
Have they even played a home game yet? Actually, they played in Dallas last night, and they played in Arizona tonight, so they have not played a home game yet. Well, so as of right now, their attendance is 0 persons. They've not been at home.
We will see about that first game.
Yeah, it could be interesting.
Wild crackpot predictions for the divisions.
Also worth noting, Nashville, get your act together, guys. You're better than 0-2. You're better than that, guys.
Is Pecorino still good?
All things being equal, he is playing at another level right now. Another level of I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna be nice to Pekka. I actually like him.
I know. I do too. I just don't. I can't figure out what's going on with the Preds right now. But
they're working their way through, and they're in hangover from the deepest playoff run in their franchise's history.
Take note, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, we might actually get a different team winning the Stanley Cup this year.
Well, so all things being equal, Western Conference, I see the Blackhawks winning the Central.
Mm-hmm.
The Pacific is
We're way too early to tell on. And
you know
these
what?
are the way. These are the way too early predictions.
The Hail Mary pass. You know what? Golden Knights, go get them.
I'd be very entertained to see you guys make the playoffs in your first year of existence. That'd be weird, but I would not be totally against it.
Whereas the Atlantic Division,
I think that Toronto will really make some noise.
Toronto's going to push.
Yeah.
And I hope the Red Wings do too.
I don't think Detroit will. That'll even itself out.
You don't think that?
No.
I actually think the Red Wings might. They're young, for some of them at least, and they're forming a newer core. If they can work around that, I see them going places.
I don't see the pieces working together as they exist right now for Detroit. You know, the team I do see that will achieve more than what last year's record says they should. Tampa. The only reason they weren't as good is because Stamkos and like half the team was injured last season. So I think that Tampa will be good. I feel bad for Ottawa. They have had such awful luck so far with both games going into overtime.
They can't get away from it.
Their last 3 games have gone to overtime, and they've lost all of them. I just feel so bad for the Sens. And I actually really like them because Erik Karlsson's a beast.
Yes, he is very. Well, I mean, last year in the playoffs, they showed up.
And Karlsson did all that on a partly broken foot.
Yep.
Imagine what he could have done if he were healthy. Would have been not fair.
So right now, again, wild card. The fun one though is the Metropolitan Division.
I think Ovi is going to win the MVP this year if he gives it anything like his current pace.
He has come out swinging.
That would be his 4th Hart Trophy for league MVP.
Can you blame him?
I wouldn't. That would be deserved.
I think it's going to equalize out. So, crackpot prediction: Capitals are going to win.
Probably.
They're going to win the Metropolitan Division.
Don't worry, they're going to lose in the second round of the Penguins. Don't worry, that's going to happen.
It's bound to happen.
If they somehow beat the Penguins in a playoff series or get past the second round,
he will eat his hats.
No, I like this hat. Come up with something that's actually practical.
I'll have you eat a spicy pepper.
There we go. Wait, what? What did I sign up for just now? Is this going to be one of those things that only you know where it was farmed and you know how spicy it is and you know it can kill a man? Kind of spicy?
There will be gloves involved and possibly a disclaimer.
All right, this is going to be entertaining. King Heinrich, I'm sorry, dude, but you've got nothing. The Rangers are going to be poor around you. It's not going to be a good year for the Rangers. New York hockey is going to be terrible this year.
When the Islanders are in charge.
Yeah, New York hockey is going to be absolutely terrible this year.
MSG is going to be a lonely place.
Also, Philly.
Stay where you are.
You're going to be awful this year. New Jersey might surprise some people. Nico Hischier is going to really impress.
I'm still hoping Bobrovsky gets back into form and the Blue Jackets start pushing again.
Oh, yeah, don't worry. Columbus will at least be the 8th seed in the playoffs this year again. Boston, I don't know what to expect out of my team this year. I really don't know what to expect from my guys. But I like the way they looked in the opener against... I love the college guys coming up. Anders Bjork and Charlie McAvoy both played in the NCAA tournament last year. And now they're playing on the Bruins.
Didn't you cover that?
No. Yes, I did. In fact, I covered Anders Bjork at both the NCAA regional tournaments in Manchester and at the Frozen Four in Chicago.
What's the inside scoop?
Bjork is a fast player. He can really pass. He can really skate. The question is whether or not he can take the beating of a long season. McAvoy is the other big player for BU. My question with him is decision-making and positioning, which as a defenseman is paramount.
And that's why we have a full season, folks.
Yeah, I mean, McAvoy played in the playoffs for Boston against Ottawa and looked pretty good, but I maintain a bit of healthy skepticism. just a little bit of skepticism.
We've got a full season and more episodes to go. So when we get back next time, the peanut gallery will be in full swing.
It's going to be a glorious time. And don't worry, we will have plenty of Cleveland Browns failure to talk about. I should just say Cleveland Browns existence. Then the failure is redundant. You know it. Browns equals failure.
Should we just name our podcast the Cleveland Browns, Cleveland Browns Factory of Sadness? The end.
But we don't just talk about the Browns.
Sadly, no.
Yeah, we have other things we talk about. So, we'll be right on back here next week, and we'll have more things to talk about. Maybe we'll even be at our regularly scheduled time on Fridays.
Sounds like a plan to me.
And maybe we'll figure it out somewhere along the way. All right, so I'm Chris Lynch.
I'm Thomas Villone Jr.
Have a great night, and don't be the Cleveland Browns.
Take care, folks.